Welcome to The Daily Grind, a Bluff City Media daily podcast. Stepping up to the microphone is your host, Luke Hatmaker. Grab your favorite morning brew and let's get to the show.
Lightning and the thunder, doom, 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 and the thunder, doom, lightning and the thunder. I don't know who sings that. Do you know who sings it? Is it Imagine Dragons?
It is. Are you setting me up for a punchline?
No, I don't. I wasn't sure. No, I couldn't remember.
There's a these nuts joke in there that I've fallen for before.
No, I'm not rusty. I'm not going to do that to you. This is your host, Luke Hatmaker, and we're just singing today. I got Uncle Buck. If you can tell, because there wasn't any pun joke there, we were just talking. Happy Monday, brother. Oh, wait. And before we go any further, I do want to say, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear King Meeks. Happy birthday to you from Yuma, Arizona. Happy birthday, King Meeks. You've been with us since day one, and we appreciate you, brother. Have a great day. It's raining here in Nashville. I don't know if it's raining in Memphis.
It's coming to Gully Washer here in North Mississippi.
Gully Washer. You know what? That's all that I would expect. Nothing less after the Grizzlies. I didn't even ask how you were doing. How are you? I just want to jump right into the game. Are you doing
it was good, but if you want to talk about that Grizzlies game yesterday, then we could end that right now.
Let's just jump right into it then, Uncle Buck. Did you watch the game on Sunday? Or no, you got to watch it in a very fun way at first, right? While you were in church?
Oh, yeah. So I'd be lying to you if I saw more than 30 seconds of the game, because this is how my day went. My wife and I were in a passion play at our church. So we were occupied Friday night, Saturday night, and twice on Sunday performing. And so when church got out Sunday morning, I was checking my phone. It was like 12:30.
Yeah.
We were down 5. I was like, all right, baby, let's go. Get the kids, get in the car. I'm going to pull up the game. And we had a 30-minute drive to my mom's house where we were doing Easter. So by the time we got the kids and got into the van, we were down like 15 or 20. And by the time we got to my mom's house, it was like 30. And I was like, well, don't have to worry about this. So I'm just going to not be on my phone at the Easter table. Okay.
Man, that's exactly, mine was a little different. So I was like, I didn't have a way to watch the game because I don't have cable. We stream everything. We've got like all the Hulu packages. And I was like, baby, I got to find, I was like, how haven't we streamed the game? Have we used a free trial of Fubo TV yet? And she was like, oh no, we haven't emailed yet. We can do a trial of Fubo TV. And I was like, hell yeah. And so we got a free trial of Fubo TV. And I pulled the TV out in the middle of the Easter lunch. I'm like, guys, I just got to stay dialed in. And the first quarter starts. I'm like, all right. And then it just did not go well in any capacity at all.
You know, you spend Easter. Easter's like one of my favorite holidays. And I was like, you're celebrating the risen Jesus. I was like,
Christ.
Follow the theme, Grizzlies. Rise up. And they were like, nope. We're going to stay dead. We're going to be dead. We're going to stay there.
They were the two dudes on the sides of Jesus, man. They were, that was an ass whooping. I don't know those two dudes' names. I know Barabbas got sent away, but those two dudes got there. Those two dudes next to Jesus had a bad day, but the thieves had a bad day. But I would argue the Grizzlies might have had a worse day yesterday than those two dudes that got crucified next to Jesus.
Like, we got to do it again tomorrow.
God, I was trying to a friend of mine who's a casual Grizzlies fan. Well, which I guess it should be say the Grizzlies lost 80-131, and
you need your calculator. It's 51.
51 points. That's really bad. I think it was the 5th largest playoff loss in playoff history, margin of victory in playoff history, which is not where you want to be in a record book.
I've got some stats on that. If you want to talk about margins,
let's do it.
I believe this was let's see, who did I bookmark this from? Jeff Calkins. The Grizzlies were swept in their first 3 years in the playoffs. Started out 0-12. In 2 of those sweeps, 2004 and 2005, they lost the 4 games by fewer points cumulatively than 51. So a whole series in which we were swept in our first. We had never
3 years
won a playoff game before. We were swept by less than 51 total points.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So does this say more about the Grizzlies or does it say more about the Thunder?
Yes. I don't think you lose by 51 without both sides playing a part.
I agree. Okay.
I said the same thing. It was really fun. We were on the other side of this, the 51-point win against Golden State in the regular season.
Yes.
And it was a ton of fun, and I took my victory lap. But at the same time, I said, you do not win by 51 based on your efforts alone.
Yes.
And the Grizzlies were awful. The Grizzlies had one day, like I kind of tongue in cheek after we won the game against Dallas, said, buckle up, we play in less than 48 hours.
Real soon.
Like, yeah, we're headed straight from Dallas to Oklahoma City, and we're playing a literal buzzsaw.
With a week off. Over a week off.
With a week off. Yeah. And the only thing you could hope for was that they may be rusty. Now, listen. A buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to talk about playoff scars. There's going to be literal scars by the end of this 4-game series.
Dude.
We're going to have cuts that need stitches.
It was gross. Like so just let's go through here are your Thunder starters. Jalen Williams, 20 points. SGA, 15 points. Lou Dort, 12 points. Chet Holmgren, 19. Isaiah Hartenstein, 14, with Andrew Wiggins had 21 off the bench. That's your bench scorer. Let's go to the Grizzlies starters. Jaren Jackson Jr. And granted, none of these dudes played more than 30 minutes. They were pulled pretty early because this was lost.
Well, how many minutes did the Thunder's guys play? Less than 20?
Yep. Right. Less than ours did. So let's not worry about it. Jaren Jackson Jr., 4 points.
Awful.
He was one of the worst games I've seen him have. Desmond Bane, 9 points. Not great. Not great.
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob. John Morant, 17 points. Sure. Scottie Pippen Jr., 2 points. Zach Edey, 4 points. 9 boards, I guess. Oh, and Marvin Bagley had 17 points off the bench. When Marvin Bagley was the highest scoring dude from that draft class.
I'm going to tell you this. You know how I knew it was like irreparably bad? Irreparably? I don't know which way.
I think you can say it either way. I like one of the two.
Before, in my trip from the church house to my mama's house, I told you everything went wrong. I knew it went wrong because I got a message in our group chat from Rusty that said Marvin Bagley's the GOAT, and I was like, "Wow, that's where we're at. It's cooked."
Yeah, man. So let's do this. Is Jaren an All-NBA player? Do you think he gets it?
I'm scared that there's so much recency bias in it, and I'm not saying that. I mean, obviously, as a fan, like I'd vote for him, but I'd have to put pen to paper. I don't keep a running tab on All NBA, the top 15 players in the league, but I've got to say he is either 15th or lower. Like the hot name has been Zubac lately, and with All NBA, there are no positional requirements anymore.
Yeah,
and so especially in the West, where you've got so many guards. And the NBA is dominated by guards. That's what sells. I mean, that's what sells advertisement. Yeah, honestly, is really awesome guard play.
Yes.
Jaren is Mr. Fundamental. He's today's Tim Duncan. Like, he's not ever really just must-see TV. And he's kind of dipped off after the ankle roll. And so, yeah, I'm scared to death he's on the cutting room floor. And honestly, I'd probably put odds that he is.
Yeah, I'm about to sneeze. That's how much I'm going to get frustrated. Oh, God.
One more time. That's a 4-burger. 5, 6.
This is what we do in my house. Dude, and I threw my back out the other day, so everything hurts. But I digress. I did hear Brian Windhurst on one of his pods say that if it's close for some guys and it's going to cost them money, he votes for them. He said if that is... that was the So I don't know because if it's recency bias, he's 100% played his way out of the award, I would argue. But if he is on the cusp of some people's ballots, thank God they already had to turn their ballots in, so nobody has to watch that game and be like, oh, this game.
Two things. One, it sucks that it's that way. Like that your raises are, I mean,
attached to your incentives are attached.
I know, right? Like
your performance incentives.
I know that sounds so
it's
bad.
Bunch of bullshit.
I mean, you're talking like $50 to $100 million for some players based on 15 spots that are given out at the end of the year, and two, I believe that a lot of these awards should be waited until after playoffs to give out anyways. I mean, there's no way that Embiid wins an MVP if it goes through the playoffs. There's no way. Last year, last year Jokic won. That was correct. But yeah, Embiid's like a first round exit or a second round exit, which he fell on his face, or Harden winning his after falling on his face that season. Like it's you get postseason rings here, but we're only talking about 82 games. An 82 game season in which they're having to institute rules just to force you to play 65 games.
Yeah. What do you think? Is there anything that they can build on this game? Anybody?
Well, if there's one, it's an easy game to flush. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When you get beat by 51, you don't even look at the tape. It's just like, okay,
we got beat by 51.
If I'm the coach, you look at this, and I mean, T.I. even said going into the game, he's like, there's not many adjustments. We're going to give our best effort, and we're going to go from here. And kind of more or less cautioned everybody for a bad game on Sunday.
Yeah, you're right.
And so if I'm the coach now, it's just like, all right, listen, we got another couple days off. You got your brakes blown off. At this point, you're only playing for pride. Go out there. We're going to make these adjustments and just go play hard. Oklahoma City is a hard place to play.
Dude, it looked nuts. Oh, my God.
You got one more game there. And then, honestly, when you're an 8 versus 1, I know everybody wants to talk about the Spurs upset and hold on to some kind of hope that we could upset them. It was never going to happen. Just listen to me, okay? I've been saying it forever. You're playing this whole series for game 3 at home.
You win game 3
That is the one. You get your home run effort. If you don't win that one, you get swept. But you're going to lose the series anyways. But you want to fight for a war in front of your home crowd. Give them something other than a blowout, which the average margin of defeat in the regular season to Oklahoma City this year was 19 points. A point away from losing by 20, an average of 20 points.
This team is unbelievable. like
cook that in with the 51, and good Lord, what the numbers do.
Oh, this isn't a math show. It's Monday. I should get that out of here. I think you just hit the nail on the head. One of my really close friends, he's a fan. He just had a baby, so he's not been as dialed in this season as he normally is. He was like, honest opinion, man, do you think we stand a chance in the playoffs? And I said, gun to my head, I think we'd be lucky based on Sunday. It's game 3. We'd be lucky to win. I think we go 5. We win 1 game at home, game 3. And then that's it. I just don't. I don't know. That team is. I asked. Did you get to see him in person this year? OKC.
Yes.
And you did, and Parrish did. I think Rusty did too. I asked all you guys, did they look that good in person? And every one of you guys was like, yes, they do. And
they're devastating.
Yeah.
Everybody shoots. Everybody defends. They're devastating. Chet didn't even play in that game.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. They're devastating. And if I was Vegas, I'd put the Grizzlies odds at like plus 1,500 every game and just beg people to take the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
it's just a different class of team. I mean, and that's not a shot at the Grizzlies. Nobody wants the Grizzlies to win more than me.
Yeah,
but it's just a different.
Thunder team's
I don't
different.
see how this Thunder team isn't in the conference. I mean, in the NBA Finals the next 5 years.
Yeah. They might get lucky this year and have a similar route where they might just lose 1 or maybe 2 games on the road to the finals this year if they're like at least in the West.
You know, they're going to feed into
OKC Denver,
the
right?
4-5 matchup, either
Denver.
Denver or the Clippers.
And that team's going to be tired because that series is going to go long.
That game is going to go a long way. That was the best game of the.
Which let's stop talking about the worst game of the weekend. Let's go into we're going to go conference by conference. Let's go by the Western Conference first because I think that these were probably the more exciting games. I don't know. Let's start with that Denver Nuggets Clippers game. If I can get the score in front of me, I should have this up. So the score to that one was Jesus.
It was an overtime game.
Overtime game. 110 to 112. Denver won in overtime. The greatest tweet of all time came out. Did you see this? It said Russell Westbrook is the equivalent of the item box in Mario Kart. It's the best tweet ever. It's so good. It's
he's the kind of guy though that you just like to have on your team because you know if nothing else, we have seen on 5, 6, 7 occasions this year, the Grizzlies just quit.
Yeah.
Including yesterday in the playoffs. Russell Westbrook would never fault him for smoking a layup when he has a chance to win it or playing too hard a defense the next possession and fouling a 3-point shooter. But that dude just goes for it. And if you give him all the crap you want to give him, fine, you can have your own opinion. Do not say that dude isn't a warrior.
Yeah, you got to pull the victory out of his cold, dead hands every single game. Like he doesn't give it up. I mean, sometimes
props to Denver. Going into that game, the Clippers had won 18 of 21.
Yeah,
they are devastating. They are one of the scariest teams in the Western Conference, not named Oklahoma City, in my opinion. You know, I said leading into that. I guess the game 82 where the Clippers and Warriors played each other. Us playing the Clippers was a nightmare scenario because they would have just killed us. We had a better shot against the Warriors. You think you saw that until Ja got hurt?
Yeah.
But the Clippers are just grown men playing hard basketball.
From Denver 1 to 9, just grown ass men. They're not playing anybody that hadn't been there before. It's tough.
And Denver fired their coach 10 days ago. And so for them to get that at home was a big win.
Yep. And especially since I think Vegas has the Clippers favored. I think when the game started, I think they were favored.
Oh, really?
I think the line moved barely. I think that was the closest one. What was the other game Saturday which this one was wild. T-Wolves Lakers.
Yeah.
I mean, Timberwolves did what they needed to do, man. They went and they stole a game from the Lakers, and that's really all you got to do to make this. It's a series now. It's officially a series. You know, it might be the best series. I mean, maybe not as good as the one we just talked about, but this one's going to be good.
Well, I said this series was going to go 7. That was my take going into it. And I also said that the Denver Clippers series was going, other than the Grizzlies Thunder, most likely to end in a sweep or a gentleman's sweep was the Clippers and Nuggets. And they're going to have to win 4 in a row. The Clippers are, for me to be right about that. Mm-hmm. I don't feel good about it, but I do feel good about being a long series with the Timberwolves and the Lakers. The Timberwolves are built for the playoffs, and they're long. They have a ton of defenders, and you've got Luka and LeBron. And we thought going into this season or going after the Luka trade that it may be a little difficult in year 1, but it more sets them up for years 3 through 10. You know, I was more upset about lengthening their window rather than how good they were to finish the season. And then they surprised me by being as amazing as they were down the stretch.
Yeah.
But what you found is that the depth is just not good. Your third guy being Austin Reeves is really good, but not if you can throw, any defender in him at all. They can defend all 3 of those dudes with elite defenders.
Yep. Man, I think when I think you just spelled it out perfectly. Depth. When they've got Reeves, they've got Doncic, and they got LeBron. But if you've got the length and you got the defenders that Minnesota does, guess what? You just got to stop those three because Dorian Finney-Smith didn't have it. Jackson Hayes didn't have it. The Lakers had nobody have it. And if Naz Reid and McDaniels play the way they did on Saturday, good God. Like they were 25-9 and 23-5. Like those dudes.
Yeah.
They ain't going to have nothing.
It's on the road.
On the road. In LA.
And so I think you made a reference to it earlier. The series doesn't start until someone loses one on the road.
Yep.
Or wins one on the road. That happened for the Lakers. I mean, for the Timberwolves against the Lakers and the Clippers winning in Denver.
It's going to be, what was the other Western Conference game?
That would be the one that happened late last night.
Yeah, the Rockets and Golden State, which lowest scoring game, if you take away the blowout, 95-85.
That's playoff basketball right
there. Playoff basketball, baby. Yeah, it was a slog. The whole I kept looking, and it was the kind of, it reminded me of old Grizzlies Spurs games, to be honest, and I really liked it. Warriors won. It's a series, 1-1 on the road. I think that the Rockets this Rockets iteration, first time they play playoff basketball. So,
listen, you've got to be, if you're a Rockets fan or you're Ime Udoka, you know what your identity is, and it's defense, it's rebounding. If you allow, what was the Golden State score? 95?
95. Yeah, they held Golden State.
If you allow Golden State to 95 points, you have met your objective. You've got to score more than that. That's got to be so disheartening.
Yeah.
That you only scored 87 or whatever it was against Golden State at home. Golden State is not a juggernaut defensively. No. And you did not shoot your way into that. I checked that box score, and the first thing I expected to see when it was a home loss to Golden State and you scored no points, basically, I expected a massive Dylan Brooks shooting game.
I was just looking.
and he didn't. I think he was like 3 of 9 for the game or whatever.
Pretty solid Dylan Brooks. This is what I would have loved to have seen from him when he played in Memphis. 11 points, like 33% from the field, 40% from 3. Not bad. Inside
joke here. I introduced Wayno, our Australian brother, to the term slobber knocker. So no, not a slobber fest. I think that's a honeymoon is a slobber fest.
Yeah, slobber fest.
A slobber knocker is a backyard brawl, bare knuckle brawl,
fist fight in the mud. This Rocket game is the most indignant. Like, this Rocket game was incredibly clear. They need a guy because Jalen Green had 7 points. And it's just.
Yeah, Van Vliet's shooting, you've got the numbers up, was
10.
Awful.
Yeah, he was 4 of 19 from the field, 2 of 13 from 3.
Yeah, that's Dylan Brooks.
That's Dylan Brooks' number right there.
There's
baby.
Dylan Brooks.
Good God, which it's been a while. I just spat. I'm so mad. It's been a while since I've watched Fred VanVleet play playoff basketball up in Toronto. He had games like this. He can shoot his way out of a playoff series, and Houston's gonna. I really want this series to be a series, but they gotta find some way to score. And he only played 8 guys. He did not play any more than 8 dudes. He stuck to an 8-man rotation, and we're gonna have to find. They're gonna have to find some way to score because it ain't happening. It is not. They ain't getting it from anybody else. Let's move over to the Eastern Conference because there were games in the Eastern Conference. After barely talking about the Eastern, which we don't have to really talk about it much anyway. These games aren't nearly as fun. The one yesterday, Cavs beat the Heat 121-100. They looked pretty good. This was a game where Ty Jerome was the best Cav, so they got, they had a killer game, and their big 3 didn't even play that well. So I should say Spider played really well. I love watching him play playoff basketball. Mitchell is wonderful. Celtics beat the Magic 103-86. This was a ball game for the first half, and then it wasn't.
Boston got tired of messing with them.
Yeah, it was a basketball game until it wasn't, and then they just. You talk about a team that couldn't score. The Magic couldn't score anything in that second half. 18-point third quarter, 19-point fourth. They were just
37-point half ain't gonna do it.
Nope, not against Boston. And then there were 2 more games, and these games there was a couple things to note. There were which this might have been the bet. We'll save this one for last. The Bucks Pacers series, which was notable because Kyle Kuzma put up a trillion, Tony Snell,
21 trillion.
21 trillion, 22 trillion.
Yeah. Tony Snell's off the hook.
Yep.
Listen, I feel validated. I didn't want Kuzma.
Yeah.
Although, what we got was less. So, I mean,
how dare you talk about bags like that?
Well, I mean, I'm going to stump for bags, but yeah, I wasn't expecting him to get playoff minutes either.
Me either.
I mean, we're talking fully healthy. I still wouldn't stump for him to have minutes if we have Brandon Clark.
I was. Well, I'll tell you my later about what my weekend was, but I didn't get to watch the play-in game, and so when I saw Bags got big playoff minutes, I was like, "What in the hell happened?"
Yeah.
But
Crazy.
Yeah, Kuzma 117.98. Pacers just look. If Dame doesn't come back, that series is over. And then the only East series that was kind of fun, I would say, but even then the Knicks turned it. They stood up in the end was the Pistons Knicks, and they won. Knicks won 123 to 112. This was a fun game. It just looked like the Pistons realized they hadn't played playoff basketball before, and they were like, ah!
Yeah, I mean, if you're Detroit, I don't think you're too upset about what happened. You're going to have to take your lumps. You're still the best story in basketball this year, in my opinion.
Yes. And
you hung with them for 3.5 quarters, and then at one point the Knicks went on a 21-0 run when it got time to win a basketball game.
Yep.
That is a learned behavior. Is how to win playoff basketball games, how to get to the finish line.
That is a habit that Tibbs has drilled into those dudes. And
campaign.
You're talking about campaign? Or go ahead.
Let's look at minutes. How many minutes? Because this is always fun to do for the Knicks.
Any Tibbs
Towns 39. Josh Hart only 30. He must have been in some foul. Well, no. Maybe I missed. Somebody can tell me if Josh Hart got hurt or something.
It's because Campaign was playing so well, probably.
Campaign had. They don't put these in any sort of
14 minutes and 14 points. 14 points in 14 minutes.
Yeah. Cat had 39, Brunson 40, OG Anunoby, of course, Iron Man 44 minutes.
Jesus.
In a regulation game.
In the first game of the playoffs that they won by 20, they won by 12. Must be nice.
Everything went more or less chalk. It goes to show you the separation between the top two seeds in the East and the West. Because it's I guess I'm not going to include the 2 seed in the West in that, but the top seed in the West and the top 2 in the East that have been far and away the best 3 teams in the NBA this year. They played like 3 blowouts.
They look like it still. Yeah, that's a good point. it does look like it's the Cavs, the Thunder, the Celtics, and the rest. It does look like which one of those teams, one of those teams from the West, albeit the Clippers, albeit the T-Wolves, could make this thing interesting, but I do think it's one of those 3 and then everybody else, and we'll see. Before we get out of here, let's talk about what we did this weekend, because that's enough playoff basketball, because there was other things that happened this weekend, because on Mondays we talk about lasagna because that's what they're for, because Garfield the cat, who I love, he's awesome. Get to read a Garfield comic. They're hilarious. I'm pretty sure I haven't read one recently, but they were good. I
don't think they would just turn out to be bad.
That would suck if they changed authors and they were just bad. They were like, this hasn't worked for 20 years. We're changing it. But he loves lasagna and he hates Mondays. So we talk about what we loved and what we hated from the weekend, because I think it's important to talk about the good and the bad, to appreciate both. I will go first. As I alluded to, so Friday night, I was in the office late. I was working, I was having my dinner, and then I was like, okay, cool, just going to be working. I had the game pulled up. I was going to be watching on my phone, and then I just got like a weird cold sweat, and I was like, oh, man, I'm about to be sick. I'm about to be sick. So I ran to the bathroom, and then it just starts happening. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I ate something, but I'm just like puking, and then it starts coming out the other end, and I'm like, what's happening? And so I'm like, hey, boss, I'm going home. It was one of those weird stomach bugs that consumes your whole being for 12 hours, and you're like, you're like vomit everything up, and it like your diaphragm hurts. So I literally just I locked myself in our guest room, pulled the curtains, and I missed the entire game. Missed the entire play-in game. I had no idea. It was one of those things where I woke up and I had like a bajillion texts, a bajillion notifications, and I was just like, yeah, man. Yeah. I'm not going to say what it is. It's going to be mysterious. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you what it is, King Minx. You're going to keep you in the darkness. I felt like I lost 12 hours, in which case a lot of Grizzlies either fans crashed or burned. And so I was like, ugh. So that was my Monday. My lasagna was I got to see a concert with we've got family that came in town for Easter weekend. So we went and saw a concert for the Ryman and then had an awesome Easter yesterday. So that was my Monday.
Who'd you go see?
Sammy Ray and the Friends. We really love them. She's like funk, rock, funky.
I think I could go.
There's a horn section. There's saxophones.
Yeah, count me in.
The two saxophone players play like multiple instruments. It's like bass clarinet, guitar. They're cool. They're funky.
It sounds rad. I mean, that would be a good term.
Rad is a good term. It was very rad. How about you? How was your weekend, brother?
I had a great weekend, busy weekend. Like I said, the lasagna.
Dude, we've been doing it forever.
I don't know.
We're on episode 380.
I don't know how I don't have a sticky note just on my wall. It says lasagna, good. Monday, bad.
I've got Garfield statues on my desk, and none of them are him holding a lasagna.
Yeah. We put on a little passion play at our church. It was a lot of fun. Had lots of great responses. And so that was by far, and you're an actor. You've done shows.
I got my starting acting in Passion Play, sir. That's where I got my beak wet.
And so you're looking at Lazarus, okay?
I was going to ask who you were. You were Lazarus?
I was.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was amazing. My wife was the adulterous woman that was about to get stoned. And so that's been a running joke.
Your wife, who is lovely.
Yeah, she's the best. Further the adulterous woman. But the reason she got that part is because she is a phenomenal singer.
Hell yeah.
She is one of the leaders of the worship band.
That's right.
She's just like top notch. And so that was a tough song that she sang. And the best moment of the show, if you ask me, just captivated.
Yeah.
And so it was just an amazing weekend for that.
Great weather too. It's always great when you have good weather for Easter, because you can also have really bad weather for Easter.
Well,
oh no,
there's a con to the weather that we had, and this is my Monday. I was bestowed a chocolate bunny yesterday morning.
Oh no!
And it had to stay in the car because I wasn't going to keep it on my person as I became Lazarus.
You're an adult. You can't.
for 2 showings yesterday, and the bunny was just a plop of gold foil, and so I have taken it inside and thrown it in the freezer. And I'm hoping that by lunchtime, I'm going to have like a chocolate bunny a day late.
That's the single saddest thing I've ever heard.
Luckily, it's a solid milk chocolate bunny and not a Reese's bunny, because then the consistency would be off, you know?
Dude, okay, I was going to ask, refreezing a regular chocolate bunny, you stand a chance. If you refreeze it, I don't know what you're doing if it was a Reese's bunny.
And let's be honest, we allow way too many variations of chocolate bunny.
I will allow this. Yes, I will.
70% of them are trash.
I agree. I will allow this. Give me a regular milk chocolate Easter bunny. I don't want any.
Yeah. I don't need your fancy Snickers bunny.
Nope.
Or your Heath Bar bunny.
Nope.
I want the mini Cadbury eggs.
Yep.
And a chocolate bunny.
I want the bunny where it's like I can cut it in half and it looks like 2 solid pieces of chocolate. That's what I want. I'm glad we can align on this, because you know, Rusty, I love you, Rusty. You would have come in here and is this real, Daniel?
I feel like he was punished by his parents.
Yeah, bro, you need to go there. I don't know if you that's you need to unlock that.
But what were you saying negatively about Rusty? Please. Please finish your thought.
That's going to do it for our show today. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow to preview the Grizzlies game, where hopefully they don't get beat by 51 points. Everybody have a good day today. I know it's rainy, but, you know, we can't get beat by 51 tomorrow, right?
It could be worse. We could be homeless.
damn it. Man, he just had to. Never mind. We will be back tomorrow. Everybody have a good day today. Be safe. If we can leave you with anything, remember these 2 things like we normally tell you. Remember to be a little bit weird. And remember to smile. Bye, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.